law has a low correlation to GDP movement, right? And what that means is that the legal industry is a service-based trade that has a low tie to GDP. And that means that if the economy, if consumer spending decreases, there's going to be less of an impact on an industry like legal services than there would other industries, right? Second is, I want to remind everyone of the saying that Warren Buffett said is, be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. I'm reminding you of this because uncertain times is actually one of the best times to capitalize on market share. Uncertain times is one of the absolute best times for you to expand your law firm's brand and to actually out chess move the competition in your market. I know this from experience. When COVID-19 hit, I freaked out, like a lot of us did, but I got extremely resourceful and we ended up having the best month in our company's history, the month right after COVID hit. And we had record month after record month for the rest of the year. And it's because I innovated our business model and I did what my competitors were not willing to do, who were basically putting their foot in the sand saying, this is our industry and we're going to stick to our skills, right? Which can actually trap you. So honestly, if this uncertainty continues, it could be a big opportunity for you. Also, remind yourself of the fact that necessity is the mother of invention, right? Like if there's no necessity, is there going to be high or low invention? Low invention. So necessity is the mother of invention. Necessity is why so many law firms pivoted to, e-filing of document storage and going virtual and allowing hybrid work arrangements because of the necessity of COVID on things that you perhaps pushed off for a really long time, right? So we all know this from history, but we can let this consumer sentiment get to our heads and cause us to reduce our own investments in our business, right? And then the last thing is I want to remind us all of the fact that your true value equation will be exposed, right? Like every business that suffers in a recession is either A, in an industry that's tied to GDP changes, or B, that doesn't have a true value equation. You're not giving excess value to your industry, right? If your industry is not really tied to GDP changes, then it really comes down to, are you giving excess value to your industry because of your business model, your team, your brand, and a combination of those three factors? We have a profit problem, whether you know it or not. And the profit problem actually applies more to your gross revenues than anything else. There's 3 insights that I want to share with you about my thoughts on increasing your profit margins. The first insight, or really like thinking process, is that you don't build or increase your law firm's profit margins by saving money or cutting costs. I know, should I hang up on myself right now or what? So you don't increase your profit margin. This is the biggest myth, okay? This is the biggest myth. When we think about increasing our profit margins, the first thought is I need to cut expenses, right? This is wrong, right? That is the worst way to increase your profit margins, and I'll explain why in a second, and it's based on the average size of a law firm. This is the biggest epiphany of today's thing. So if you're writing this down, this is a writer downer. Quality of earnings is more important than net profit. I know, hallelujah, hallelujah. Can someone say hallelujah? Quality of earnings is more important than net profit. I want to explain why. Let's say we have a $500,000 law firm. How many staff do you think the average $500,000 a year law firm has? So quality of earnings being more important than net profit, I want you to think about this experience, okay? Let's say you have 4 employees let's say you have 5 employees at a 500K firm, which you'll see why that's terrible from a revenue per employee perspective in a second, okay? But quality of earnings being more important than net profit, I want you to picture this. Picture turning off all of your marketing and firing everyone on your team and having everything run through you again. Every email, every single call, okay? Every client fire, everything runs through you again, right? Back to being a solo, right? So I'm giving you guys this epiphany to think, okay, well, if that's one way to increase profits is cut expenses, which is essentially pay your team less, have less people, spend less on marketing, cut costs on software and all this stuff, right? Essentially, put more on you, right? Put more on you, right? Can anyone see here that maybe we fire someone, maybe we cut our marketing spend, maybe we do this stuff? Can anyone see here that your profit margins may increase? Yes or no? Can everyone see that if you pay people less, have less people, or spend more money? Yes or no? Your margins could increase. Here's my question. Is that what you want? Okay, so I've reframed your thinking around, I need higher profit, but I need higher profit money. No, you don't. You need higher quality of earnings. It's actually more important to have the same profit margins with a higher quality of life than it is to just have a subjectively higher profit margin and a lower quality of life. True or false? So quality of earnings is more important than net profit. Okay, so with that being said, okay, that is such an important concept. Let's talk about how do we, if we're not going to reduce spending, if we're not going to fire people, we're not going to pay people less and ball on a budget, how do we increase profits through our management, right? Through our law firm management practices. Number one, do your revenue per employee math. Who of you knows what the healthy average revenue per employee is in a highly profitable business? $250,000 per employee. That means that a $1 million business should have how many employees? 4. Now, does that mean that we got to go fire everyone because we have too many people? Does that mean we got to go freak out our team to get more productive because they're not being productive enough? Yes or no? Of course not, right? Of course that doesn't mean that, right? What it means is we have to get better at getting better labor utilization rate out of our existing team. In a service business, there are 3 resources: people, time, and money. The ultimate leverage is how your people and your money spend their time, right? So how do we understand how our team is spending their time? Does anyone have a guess? I know this is going to sound really, really simple. Time tracking. Ding, ding, ding. Okay. Time tracking. It's that simple, right? Whether it's self-reported, whether it's automated, whether it's through a CRM, whatever. Time tracking gives you the statistics to know how much time is my team spending answering needless emails that could be systemized. How much time is my team spending on reactive client calls that they could delegate or that we could have a process around to improve efficiency on? The ultimate profit killer is lack of a good labor utilization rate, which you're able to become aware of through time tracking. Now, the best way to do time tracking is to not track time at all. It's to tell your team this exact message. Hey, in an effort to remove all of the needless, redundant, time-sucking tasks that you do throughout the day, I'd love for you to report to me by Friday of this week a list of where subjectively you felt you spent your time so that I can put together a plan to help you be more productive and get those time suckers off your plate. Does anyone here think that your team would have buy-in towards that? Yes or no? What do you think? Yeah, because what's in it for them? It's all what's in it for them, right? And if you don't, you got a culture problem. And you probably need to let some people go if they're going to get mad at you for you asking them for ways you can remove needless tasks off their to-do list to make them a more happy, productive person with less repetitive tasks. Let them go, right? So revenue per employee math is one of the key things to start wrapping your head around, okay? Another management optimizer is increasing your average case value, or optimizing it, I should say. See, the reason that the average PI law firm, the average revenue per employee of a PI law firm is double that of fee-producing firms. Why is that? Well, in a personal injury law firm, you are able to spend the same amount of time on average and get more or less revenue per time input. You're able to get more return per unit of time put in, right? That same thing applies to high net worth divorce firms, to other firms that target a higher end niche of the market. Now, I'm not saying the only answer is to target high end, because we have members in our coaching program. We have people that work with us on our agency side of the business that have low average case value. But what is the answer? If you're not going to increase your case values, what is the only other option? The only way to increase your profit margin, if you're not going to increase your average case value, is through systems efficiency. So you really have two choices. Are you going to increase efficiency? Or are you going to increase prices, or a mix of each, right? Which I think is the ultimate solution.